Literacy is our district-wide focus across all grade levels. Based on data, we know vocabulary is one of our top weaknesses among all students, including English learners. Today, we are here to share with you some strategies for vocabulary development and writing across the curriculum. The strategies we are sharing are not necessarily groundbreaking new developments. They are, however, tried and true best practices that have proven to be effective. We hope these reminders will encourage you to reach back into your teacher toolbox and perhaps dust off some of these oldies but goodies.
Our first strategy is tried and true. Sentence stems are an easy and effective way to provide English learners with the language they need to be able to clearly communicate the content they've learned. Sentence stems can be used with any topic across the content areas, but I've chosen a social studies topic. These Susan B. Anthony sentence stems can be used for something like a turn and talk activity following an article or a video clip. I would say something like, using what you've learned from the article, discuss how Susan B. Anthony contributed to the women's suffrage movement. Use a sentence stem from the board to get you started. And then after they've had time to talk and have our speaking practice, we would share. And then students could use those same sentence stems for their writing assignments, such as a ticket out the door, a quick ticket out the door, a journal entry, or really any writing assignment. As you can see, the sentence stems provided are differentiated for various English proficiency levels. An emerging student may be able to show what he's learning using the green sentence, Susan B. Anthony helped women blank. Whereas a developing student is ready for more vocabulary. So we insert the vocabulary into the sentence stem to know that the children are using the vocabulary in their writing. Susan B. Anthony promoted women's suffrage by blank. And then your English learners who are nearing the end of their ESOL career, I guess, might be ready for a grade level prompt like the blue one with lots and lots of vocabulary. Susan B. Anthony contributed to the women's suffrage movement in many ways, including, and then hopefully that student would use lots of vocabulary, more complex sentences, multiple sentences, that kind of thing. I hope you'll continue using sentence stems to provide that vocabulary support to English learners in their writing.
Strategy 2 is word banks. Knowing vocabulary words is key to understanding in every content area. In math, the challenge is understanding the difference between the mathematical definition of a word and other meanings of that word. Word banks with visual models can support students as they face this challenge. Participating in class discussions, journaling in math, solving word or story problems, and even reading directions on assignments can be more successful with the use of a word bank. Displaying charts, visuals, or word walls in the classroom for students to reference during class discussions will help alleviate anxiety within students and give them the support they need in order to participate in the class discussion. For a specific math unit, give students their own list of words that they may hear or see. Encourage students to refer to the word bank list as they are participating in class discussions. Oftentimes, writing can be difficult, especially when you can't find the words you are trying to communicate. We have all been there. Providing or creating a word bank during a journaling activity is an excellent way to support students to be more successful in their journaling. For this activity, the teacher would present students with a journal prompt, and the students would begin answering the prompt. The teacher would then have students highlight any math words from their response. Students would then share these words while the teacher creates a word bank. All students would be able to reference this word bank. Students then revisit their writing to add additional words to refine their response. This is beneficial to EL students because they would have an additional opportunity to make connections with the vocabulary being used. Finally, offer students word banks related to mathematical operations when you present students with word or story problems. This will help students better understand the mathematical operation they need to perform in order to solve this problem. In addition, do not forget about the resources that are available. Hart County Charter System has a K-12 math vocabulary document to help you find those words and make word banks for your EL students.
Next, we will share strategy number 3, a closed paragraph with a word bank option. A closed paragraph uses a technique where words from a passage are omitted that the reader is forced to use background knowledge, vocabulary knowledge, and higher order thinking skills to fill in the blanks. This strategy can be used to introduce new material and learn new words in context, also allowing students to recall what they've learned and check for comprehension. It's a great strategy to use across the curriculum in all content areas. The closed paragraph strategy can also serve as a catalyst for further discussion of a topic or material being covered. Discussion and collaboration can help bring new words to life. Once students are provided with the passage, they will need to read it in its entirety before they begin filling in the blanks. You will need to scaffold as needed. Also, be sure to discuss the meaning of the words from the word bank to ensure understanding. Have students predict the meaning from the clues around the blanks as they fill them in. Students will then need to go back and reread the completed passage to confirm that the words they chose make sense. Research shows that the use of this strategy will help students learn to predict and verify word meaning of unfamiliar and familiar words, thus broadening students' vocabulary.
The next strategy that we will discuss is the roving paragraph. This strategy might be new to you, but it is a great strategy that helps tie all the previously discussed strategies together. It helps students with a way to speak, listen, and write about the content in which they are learning. These skills are so important to English language learners. Oftentimes, it's hard to provide EL students with ample opportunities to practice their speaking and listening skills. This strategy can serve as an opening or closing activity for a lesson. Let's take a look at how this strategy works. The first step to using this strategy is to choose a sentence stem to type in the first section. In this example, you can see that the sentence stem is, plant cells are different from animal cells because the students will work individually to complete the sentence. As students work, one way to differentiate for English language learners would be to provide a word bank with keywords for students to reference throughout the activity as they write their responses. They should not write as much as they can in their initial response. Just simply complete the sentence stem. More advanced students should be encouraged to use details and descriptive language in their response. Once this step is completed, students will be directed to find a classmate in which to share their response. Upon sharing their responses, the student pairs will write their classmate's response in the next section. This helps support students who may struggle with adding details or facts, as well as let students see other ways of wording a response. Also note that this template helps to guide the students in the use of transition words. In this example, the student has copied the following response from their classmate's work. In addition, plant cells have a cell wall, but animal cells do not have a cell wall. The sentence is simple and uses keywords from the word bank. If students have the same or a very similar response when they share with a classmate, they are challenged to discuss the topic, look at the word bank if necessary, and write a new response together. For the next step, the students will pair up with a different classmate and repeat the last steps of sharing their responses and writing one of their responses that is different from the ones already on their paper in the third section. In this example, you can see that the student has chosen to write the response, "Finally, animal cells do not have chloroplast like plant cells." Remember that if the students have the same or similar responses, they will be tasked with discussing the topic and writing a new response together. The final step in the roving paragraph strategy is to have the students return to their seats and use the responses that they have collected to write a summary. Your English language learners will benefit greatly from the discussion and response sharing that has already taken place, as well as the word bank that has been provided. Students may choose to simply copy the responses into a summary statement, or they can be challenged with using the statements to write their own summary with more descriptive details. They could even be challenged to try to add in words from the word bank that were not used within the first 3 responses on their paper. In conclusion, this strategy helps to pull several EL teaching strategies together to help your students be successful. A copy of this template can be found using the bit.ly link found above. Once you go to the link, you will be prompted to make a copy of the file, and then you can edit it to best fit the needs of your students. As stated throughout this video, all of these strategies are beneficial for all learners, and English language learners will benefit greatly from the scaffolding and support they provide.